Okay, so let's try this. All right, so you've had a little bit of, uh, of work that you did in class dealing with this, so I'm hoping you can continue. So I'm going to start with this one. So -6 and +4. I'm going to draw it out just for maybe a couple of few ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't have chips, so I'll use that. And then I have 4 positives over here. I can make 0 pairs, right? I can take this guy with this guy. I can take this guy with this guy. Another 0 pair of these two. Another 0 pair with these two, which, as you can tell, the answer, I'm going to have 2 negatives left. So the answer to this is -2. By now, I'm hoping that you realize that you're going to, when the signs are different, when you have one is negative and the other is positive, you literally have to subtract their absolute values, right? You're subtracting 6 minus 4, you put 2, and obviously you've got to make sure you put the appropriate sign, in which this case is negative. 7 plus -3, well, if you look at it, I know there are more positives than negatives, so I know my answer is going to be positive. Positive something, right? Positive something. I don't need to write the positive, but just for the example here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I have -3s. So again, making 0 pairs, this guy was this guy, this guy was this guy, this guy was this guy. I can't make other 0 pairs, so what do I have left over? 4 positives. -4 plus -4, so let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I make 0 pairs here? No, I can't make 0 pairs because I need 1 positive and 1 negative to make a 0 pair, right? A 0 pair is made up by 1 positive and 1 negative, and that equals 0. They're all negatives here. So if I add them together, which is the operation here, I'm just going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a much larger group of negative numbers. So final answer, -8, right? 5 plus -5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, if you didn't draw this, that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you make 0 pairs? I mean, is this a situation where you can make 0? Yes, you can. So this one and this one, 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 this one and this one. So for this particular question, right, your answer is 0. Move on. This one says draw the chips. Okay, so maybe I should have waited a little bit to show how you solve the problem. So this one, quickly draw them out. So I have 2 negatives, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 negatives over here. If I'm adding these two, well, I know they're both negative. So I mean, if you want to think of them as friendlies and not friendlies, they're both friendlies, right? Because they're both on the same side. They're both negative. So if I add them together, which means combining them, put them there, I'm just going to have a bigger group of negatives, so which is going to give me -11. 10 and -12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And definitely they're not friendly, so I can make 0 pairs here, right? I'm going to make 1, 1, actually 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All that were 0 pairs, right? They canceled each other. So what do I have left over? I have 2 negatives, and that's what I'm going to write. So, and you can tell right away that there were more negatives than positives. So the answer had to be negative. -8 plus 8. 1, 2, 3.
Please pardon this interruption. Ms. Dunn, please call the main office. Ms. Dunn, please call the main office.
And you can tell that you're going to make 8 0 pairs, right? This one was this guy, this one and this guy, this, And therefore the answer is going to be 0. So here it's saying -3, so let me show -3. And I know my answer is going to be 1 positive. Right? I'm just going to show 1 positive like that. Right? What must happen here so that I have more positive? Well, the number that we don't know yet, obviously, if the answer is going to be positive, it means that they're more positive than negative. So let me just do this for now. So right now, I put 3 positives. And if I put 3 positives, I'm going to make, this is a 0 pair, another 0 pair, another 0 pair. So far my answer is 0. So in order for the answer to be 1, I have to add 1 more. So in essence, that question should have been -3 plus 4. And that gave me 1 positive, right? Because you can tell there's more positives over here. Give 3 possible combinations of integers that are added to equal 0. Well, it's not that. -1, and I like to put that in parentheses, plus 1, that equals 0. -22 plus 22 equals 0. I don't know. 37 plus -37, right? 0. So all those are equal to 0. Notice that they are all opposites, right? Give 3 examples of integers that give you -12. Okay, of one integer added to a positive integer. So a negative integer added to a positive integer. Okay, so it has to equal -12. So it has to be addition, and I need a negative number here and a positive number here. So let's try, let me put 1 over here. So I know that I have to have more negatives. And how many more negatives? -12. So if I put 1 more, so if I had -13 plus 1 positive, the answer would be -12 because you can clearly tell that there's more negatives. How many more negatives? -12. A positive integer added to a positive integer will equal, so if you take any positive number, let's say 5 plus 3 equals 8, 2 plus 1 equals 3. I mean, you can write some examples, but a positive plus a positive will always equal a positive answer. Always. A negative integer added to a negative, so if you had -5 plus -3 equals how many negatives? -8, right? And likewise, -2 plus -1. You can't make 0 pairs because they're both negatives, right? So anytime you're adding 2 negative numbers, the answer will always equal a negative integer. Negative answer or negative integer. I should have written negative integer. Let's go on to the next one. A positive integer added to an integer will equal, well, depends. That's going to be dependent, right? Depends. So, depends on who has the bigger absolute value. Very mathy way of saying this. So let's take an example. So if I have 5 plus -8, what's my answer going to be? Negative, right? Why? Because this number is bigger. The absolute value of -8 is bigger than the absolute value of 5. Let's take this and turn it around. So let's say 7 plus -2. What's my answer going to be? Well, 7 obviously is bigger than the absolute value of -2, so the answer is going to be positive. So it really depends who has the greater number, right? The greater absolute value. Okay, so when a positive, likewise, when a negative is added to a positive, is the same idea. You have to look at who has the bigger absolute value. All right, -13 plus -8, and I know they're both negative, so I know my answer is going to be negative. I can't make 0 pairs because they're all a bunch of negative, so I'm just going to add them. So 13 plus 8 is 21, so I'm going to have a total of -21 chips. 7 plus -15, I know my answer in this case is going to be negative because this is the bigger one. And guess what? I'm not adding 7 plus -15 because I definitely can make some 0 pairs, right? So after I make some 0 pairs, there's going to be some negative numbers left over. How many negative chips will I have left over? -8. So that's my answer. Okay. If a number is increased by 7, so a number, let me represent that by n. Increase means add by 7. Number increased plus 7 equals -5. What did I start with? So obviously, this was a negative number, right? A big negative number, sorry. And I made some 0 pairs, and I'm making 7 0 pairs. I was left with -5. So I can obviously tell you that this is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 7 equals negative 5. For which value of b will result in the greatest sum? So negative 8 plus b. So if I put negative 8 and I put it over here, right? So I'm going to substitute 4 times. So let's do the first one. Negative 8 plus negative 8. Second one's going to be negative 8 plus this one, 9. Third one's going to be negative 8 plus negative 1. And the last one is negative 8 plus 0. So let's see which one has the greatest sums. Tricky question. Negative 8 plus negative 8, they're both negatives, right? So no 0 pairs. So I'm going to add those two. It's negative 16. Negative 8 plus 9, I can make 0 pairs, and obviously there are more positives. How many more positives? There's one more yellow chip, right? Negative 8 plus negative 1, they're all all red chips. So it just gives me negative 9. And negative 8 plus 0 is just negative 8. So now if you look at the question, which one has the greatest sum? Which one is the biggest number? The biggest number is this one. Okay, so if I'm going to put that on a number line, that's 0, and this is 1, and then I'm going to just estimate that's negative 8, that's negative 9, and that other number is negative 16. So if I were to ask you which one has the greatest value, this fellow over here has the greatest value, right? Because it's all the way to the right. The number to the right is always the greatest value. Okay? A little tricky. The temperature at 8 a.m. in Flushing was negative 14, so let me write that down. By noon, the temperature had increased by 15, so I'm going to add what? I'm going to add 15 positive. Why? Because it says increased. So what was the temperature at noon? Well, if you think about, I know it says draw, but I'd rather draw a thermometer. So if you imagine this is 0 degrees and this is negative 14, and you're going to take 15 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You would land at 1. So at noon, it was 1 degree Celsius. Right? Represent each statement in an integer. Tim placed 29 crayons on the table, so that's just a positive 29. Sam lost 17 quarters. Linda grew 5 inches over the summer. Mark found 8 seashells. Temperature fell 28 degrees. Larry paid a fine to the police, so he actually lost some money. Okay. And then, still have a few. At the top, so this one's a little tricky. So I'd like to draw these out. Okay. So here's the ocean, and Mount Kiki is 1,281. If you think about it, that's how it is. So I'm going to even put a plus. So if you were to climb all the way up there, you'd be 1,281 feet above sea level. At sea level, you're at 0, right? So from here to here, 1,281, that's the distance. And then there's a valley here, and that's the valley, it's all the way at negative 723. Now, how far, what's the distance between this bottom and this top right here? So imagine if you had to walk from the valley, well, but not in a diagonal way, but you had to go up. So if you were all the way down here at negative 723, and you had to go all the way, passing 0, to 1,081 feet. If you had to walk that distance, how many steps would you take? Right? So it's in terms of feet, so forget about separate. Now, it's tricky because you're measuring distance. So let's take this into 2 parts. So let's say you're at Mimi Valley, and from Mimi Valley, you want to just get to 0. What's the distance there? 723 feet, right? From the bottom here, the valley, to 0, to water level, you would have to go 723 feet. Positive, because distance can't be negative. Plus, now let's say you took a break, Now you want it to go all the way to the top of the mountain. How many feet you would have to go? Well, you have to go 1,281 feet to go all the way to the top. So if you add these two, you get the distance. So how far apart are they? They are 2,004 feet apart. An elevator is on the 12th floor. It goes down. Uh-oh. I have to stop this. I'm back. Where are we? The elevator. Okay, so let me do the elevator as an expression, and then maybe we can do some drawings. So it's on the 12th floor. So, and I want you to do, we're adding today, right? So adding, and then it goes down 27 floors. So if it goes down 27 floors, how do we represent that? Like that. Then adding, what are we adding to that? Him going 8 floors. So going 8 floors is represented by a positive integer. So here's your expression. Okay, so if you like to draw it, this is a building, ground floor. He's on the 12th floor. He's going to go, and again, this might be a little bit more painful to do because if you're going to go, you actually have to go and draw that you're going down 27th floor. So like going 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors, 5 floors, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way to 27, and then going back up. You can do it that way, and that's completely fine for now until you get used to it, or you can do the expression. Okay, so let's take care of these two first. So I have positive 12 plus negative 27. Well, I know there's more negatives, so I know this part of the expression is going to be a negative number. I'm going to make 12 zero pairs, right? Because there's 12 here and definitely 12 here. And after I make the zero pairs, there's going to be 15 negatives left over. I'm going to take that and I'm going to add the 8. Negative 15 plus 8, and again, there's more negatives, so I know my answer is going to be negative right away. I'm going to make 0 pairs. I can make 8 0 pairs, and what am I going to have left over? After I make the 0 pairs, I'm going to have 7 left over. So where is he after? He's going to be on the negative 7th floor. James has 53 in his bank, so let's go like this, which is positive, right? And I'm going to use addition, and then to that I'm going to add what he spent, and he spent. So spent has a negative connotation, which means I'm going to use negative 89. So how much money will he have? Well, he's not going to have money, but I know he's going to be in the negative. He's going to be owing the bank some money. How much will he be owing? Well, 53 and negative 89, you know there's going to be, it's going to be a negative answer. So now, how many more negatives are there? Well, let's subtract 89 minus 53. 6, 8 minus 5. So I'm going to have 36 left over after I make all those 0 pairs. Okay. It's 5 degrees outside, so plus 5. It will drop 18, so let me add to that. So let me show you that it dropped negative 18. What will be the temperature then? Well, again, if you like to use a number line, for now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from there, I want you to drop 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You can do that, but you're going to need all the numbers, right? You can use that, but it gives you an idea. If you use the expression 5 plus negative 18, you know the answer is going to be negative 18. If you're going to make 5 0 pairs, right, because there's 5 positive here, there's definitely 5 negatives here, so you can use those. And after you make the 0 pairs, you're going to have negative 13 left over. So that's the temperature. And hopefully last one. Do I have time? Yeah, I have 4 minutes. Scuba diver. He's at 96 below sea level. So let's represent this like that, right? And we're going to add, to that I'm going to add what? He went up 35 feet. So going up 35 feet, we're going to represent that with a positive integer, which is positive 35. And that's my expression. So he's still underwater, right? Still didn't go all the way to the surface. So where is he? Well, still negative, right? Still negative answer. So 96 and 35, you can make 35 zero pairs. And how many are left over after that? So if you subtract these two numbers, 1, 9 minus 3 is 6. He's going to be here. How deep is he now? Negative 61, so he's still 61 feet on the water. Okay, so hopefully that helped.